Greetings, everyone. This is Tom Funk with another edition of Trail Tales. This episode is from my Million Hikes manuscript about my hike across Michigan's Upper Peninsula using the North Country Trail back in 1998. Today we move on to Chapter 2, Ontonagon. I crossed over into the Ontonagon County during the last episode when I was sitting at the Carp River Bridge. So let's get underway. And welcome, and I'm glad you're with me. Folklore has it that a Native American dropped a bowl in a river, and she named it Nindogagan, or My Bowl is Lost. Ontonagon was visited starting in the late 1600s every few years until the middle of the 1800s by voyagers, Jesuits, and prospectors seeking copper. The famous Ontonagon boulder, located upstream on the Ontonagon River, is now placed in the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C. Ontonagon is a large county at 1,311 square miles, but is only home to 9,000 humans. At 7 persons per square mile, this may be a lonely walk. It's July 23rd, 1998. I'm going to start at the Correction Line Shelter, and I'm going to end at the Union Grade Campground. I'll hike 13 miles today for a trip total of 57. It is sunny and 68 degrees, a bug factor of 1, and the trail conditions, roots, rocks, some paved roads, and some killer hills. The trail is well marked and well used. Thousands of tired, nerve-shaken, over-civilized people are beginning to find out that going to the mountains is going home, that wilderness is a necessity, and that mountain parks and reservations are useful not only as fountains of timber and irrigating rivers, but as a fountain of life. John Muir. All right, so last night there was a short little sprinkle, and I had not situated my rain flag properly because the view through the trees was clear when I turned in, and I thought the stars were beautiful, and I really didn't want to fix it. So in the middle of the night, I felt a few drops making their way through the forest canopy, and it took about 5 minutes without the aid of a flashlight to properly set up my fly. Again, it stopped raining as soon as I was finished setting up my shelter. My slumber last night was okay. The bugs, although I could hear them, they couldn't get to me. I must be setting up my mosquito net properly. Seeing I've had a few days practice, I think I've got it down now. So I'm wide awake at the crack of dawn. I start wandering around looking for a place to go to the bathroom. This not so glamorous task has to be the first order of business every morning so far. Number 1 and number 2. It is imperative that I stay hydrated and I take regular, quote-unquote, constitutionals. A motto that I learned last night from the scouts was drink clear, drink often, pee clear, pee often. If you are urinating often and it is clear, it means your body is getting rid of extra water from your body. If it's golden, it means your body does not have enough water and is recycling it from your urine. This is an indication that I need to drink more. So far, though, I'm not urinating enough, even though I am drinking about 1.5 gallons of water every day. Even if you are exercising, 1.5 gallons of water is a large amount to be drinking in a day. I appreciate the fact that my body needs time to adjust to this rigorous daily exercise before I reach an equilibrium on water consumption. My constitutionals, well, they've been timely and healthy. My biggest concern is finding an appropriate place to go to the bathroom. Number 1 requires privacy and minimal vegetation. Remember, there's no bathrooms out on this hike. I have to walk into the woods and be like a bear. So what I do is I look for a rock or a bald spot on the ground to urinate upon, but number 2 requires me to dig a cat hole, 4 to 6 inches deep, at least 100 feet from a trail and 200 feet from water. You do not want your waste to end up on the bottom of someone's boot. hence getting away from the trail, or into the water and introducing organisms into the water. After going, I cover my cat hole with some duff. I do use toilet paper, which is an important supply, and I keep it in a waterproof, dent-resistant plastic tube. Nothing worse than having wet toilet paper when you got to go. For you faint at heart, talking about urine and feces may sound a little juvenile, but you ask any doctor worth their salt, monitoring your body waste is one of the easiest and a very important way to determine your health. Keep in mind, I am 4 to 5 hours from the nearest hospital, if even someone finds me. So I take my monitoring of my health, which includes scrutinizing my waste, quite seriously. Believe me, diarrhea can kill you via dehydration if you do not catch it and deal with it in time. My mark is located 500 feet from camp and probably that distant from the river. I do my business and I head back to camp, cleanse my hands, and proceed to eat a breakfast consisting of bagels with peanut butter and a granola bar. I'm not feeling too hot, my feet hurt, and I'm a little tired. Therefore, I pop an Excedrin while examining my feet. I find a blister on my Achilles heel tendon that formed and popped yesterday. I cover the tender spot in Neosporin, a Band-Aid, and cover that with duct tape. Duct tape is splendid for blisters because the boot will rub against the tape and not your skin. I go a little crazy. Every hot spot on my foot was covered with a swath of duct tape. I use my final piece, and I will have to rely on medical tape until I resupply. I say to myself, boy, it's taken a while for these scouts to break camp. I feel it's well past sunrise, and I refer to my timekeeping device. It measures 9:30 a.m. I have a long walk ahead of me. They're starting to move, but first they take photos of each other, and I of them, and we start to walk. I decide to trail behind with Eric and his son Ian and enjoy the scenery. I notice Ian is not wearing socks. I guess last night he was being stupid and went wading in them. Eric told him no socks or wet socks. Those were his choices. He chose the former. The Big Carp River Trail is our pathway of choice. It starts from where it intersects with Correction Line Trail, and that follows the low side of a ridge for a while. We're still walking through ancient forests, and I can honestly say the gigantic hemlocks and white pines habituate me. Eric and I stop, and we check out the map. According to this, we have to climb this ridge eventually, he says, pointing up. Well, I'm ready, I declare. Wow, this is going to be one heck of a climb, probably 300 to 400 feet, and about a 33% slope. Can you say switchbacks? The group is spread out, relatively quiet. Eric and I are really enjoying ourselves, identifying trees, flowers, birds, shrubs, etc. And by doing so, we are falling way behind. Don't you think we should catch up, I say, lugging behind him. Nah, I take breaks all the time. We'll catch up. In addition, my son is having a hard time with no socks. I guess he won't do that again, I say. I would not have done that normally, but this is our last day hiking. He is the type of kid that has to learn the hard way. Gee, sounds like me when I was 12. Well, here we are, climbing this ridge. This is a massive rock with a thin coating of soil. And the switchbacks. Ugh. Switchbacks are zigzags up the slope of a hill. Instead of going vertically up the hill, you go more of a horizontal fashion. Just think of many hairpin turns in a road going up a hill. We achieve the top of this rock, and there are only a few diminutive trees on the top. Looks like the soil is too lean, and I will bet the wind keeps these trees undersized due to the constant howling. We are on the periphery of a cliff, looking down on the Big Carp River about 1,400 feet above sea level. It's about 400-foot drop to the valley beneath. Everywhere you look, trees envelop the earth, not an opening in sight. I'm now in a trance. I'm soaring in slow motion, looking downwards on the trees below. At this point, the whole group is together, drinking up the scenery that surrounds us. A winter wren presents its staccato call to our tender ears. A density in a thick forest that has many uprooted trees, it is usually heard and rarely seen. I pull out my binoculars and examine the horizon. At the west edge of the earth, I see a small blip. Inspecting it with my binoculars, I realize, hey, that's Copper Peak. It has to be at least 25 miles away. I can't believe I've walked this far. Until we reach the Lake of Clouds in about 2 miles, we'll be walking tenuously along the edge of the earth. The surface is entirely rock, and there are many ups and downs to maneuver. It is to a large extent easier to go up a hill than down. If you lose it going up, you fall forward into the hill. If you lose it going down, well, gravity invites you to its party, plummeting you to the earth in a quest to pulverize your carcass into the ground. A walking stick, which I brought with me, is very obliging in keeping my balance. I falter occasionally, but I have not fallen yet. Eventually the trail turns into the forest as we close in on Lake of the Clouds. I see a small family headed in my direction, and they walk past me while I'm taking a 5-minute break. A child, about 4, turns and pipes up. "Where's your car?" says the child, strapped into a harness not to fall off a cliff. Probably expecting an answer like, "the parking lot." I answer, "Kalamazoo." The parents turn to look at me. "Why is your car in Kalamazoo?" "Well, my friends kicked me out of the car because I was acting bad, and they're making me walk home." The parents chuckle. They're probably in their 40s, and they do not look like they're fit enough to walk 1 mile in this landscape. Showing signs of exhaustion and probably dehydration, Dad has to be pushing 300 pounds, and Mom is not too far behind. They're also ill-equipped, not wearing appropriate footwear, and most brainless of all, not carrying any water with them. The woman, who is panting at this point, says, "So, where are you going and from where?" I answer with, "Ironwood to St. Ignace." "Whoa, how long is that going to take?" asks the man. 6 weeks, provided I don't quit early. I'm sitting there waiting for Eric, Ian, and Laura and his mom to catch up. I continue my conversation with the unqualified day hikers. I learn this family is from Stanton, Michigan, and I tell them I'm from Battle Creek. "So how do we get back to the parking lot?" they ask. Oh, God, stupid humans. No map, no water, no brain. Politely, I respond, "Just follow me and our group." Eric and Ian emerge from the bushes. Ian seems to be holding his own. There's this constant, "my feet hurt" look in his eyes. I know that look. I feel it every time I take a step. "So, Tom, where did you go to school and what's your background?" "Biology and environmental studies from Western Michigan University." "Hey," Eric says, "I'm a biology major too." "Well, where do you work?" I ask. Let's see if he's working in this field. Stepan, that's Steppan. It's a chemical distributor. We have exclusive rights on numerous chemicals used in many products you're familiar with. Tide, Cooler Foam, and we have the exclusive right of supplying Coca-Cola with cocoa. He says he misses the natural history part of biology the most, and he was glad that I would share with him what I knew about the birds, flowers, and trees in the area. As we're talking about our jobs, a parking lot with its complementary vehicles and humans appear out of nowhere. My unprepared family is close behind. "Well, it looks like we're here. Good luck, Tom. I hope you make it," says Eric. "Me too," I say, shaking his hand. I peacefully disconnect myself from the group, continuing my stride down M107 as the Boy Scouts put their belongings in their cargo vans. We never really said our goodbyes. That was a nice experience. Those are some pleasant humans. Halfway done for the day, I'll be on the road for a while as I'm headed for Union River Outpost Campground on the east side of the park. I can't believe I'm going to make it through the Porcupine Mountains in 2 days. I made it to the contact station on M107, took a lunch break, but my nap only lasted about 45 minutes. Am I getting used to this walking? The road is flat, straight, and downhill. My next 15-minute break will be at a picnic area about 4 miles from my final destination. As I approach, I notice that there are about 10 tables, all vacant, overlooking Gitchagumi, Lake Superior to us Europeans. I take off my backpack and I heave it onto the table. My feet hurt, and I notice they're starting to hurt earlier each day. Yesterday, they didn't start hurting until about 3. Today, they hurt now, and it's 2 p.m. So I pop some more Excedrin, which does help. Reaching Union Bay Campground, I am broke. I have $8, and this campground needs about $14. So I continue to Union River Outpost which is just south of M107 and South Boundary Road intersection. I find a shortcut which takes me past the visitor center. Of course, I stop in. Reeking and grubby, I put down my pack on a picnic table outside. I am the curio in the gift shop filled with yuppies that have left their internal combustion wheelchairs, otherwise known as SUVs, RVs, sedans, or any other motor vehicles in the parking lot. I am the ultimate all-terrain vehicle, and I blow their SUVs to shame where I have been so far. Contrary to the commercials, no SUV will get you to the top of Big Carp River Trail and see the views that I have seen. I buy $1 worth of postcards, load up on water, and call Don. I told him about the day's events, where I was going, and about the miscommunication with my dad. I would call him Saturday, 6 p.m. of my whereabouts. I also call my employer and leave a message to my boss with the purpose of telling her I saw a bear. Continuing 1 more mile to Union River Outpost, I see a sign, turn walk on a gravel road. The road winds and is a little hilly, and I come to a 2-track bridge. I see these bridges only in the Upper Peninsula, boards laid lengthwise across the bridge, just enough for the 2 tracks of a vehicle. Crossing the bridge, I see other campers, and to my amazement, there are only 3 campsites, and they're all in use. Crap. I walk up to some guy that is driving an old Range Rover. He looks like he's in his 20s. Howdy! Is it true this place has only 3 sites? Yes, it is. My wife ran back to Union Bay to pay. To pay? Yeah, you have to pay there. You just missed a site. We just got here 15 minutes ago, and those others were right behind us. Crap. Now, when I was at Presque Contact Station, I specifically asked if I could pay here for a site. Well, looks like I got bad information. This probably won't be the first time. Are you on foot? Yeah, I'm not walking anymore. I'm up to 13 or so miles a day. I was hoping that he'd invite me to stay on his site. When his wife pulled up, I could see why he didn't. You don't mind if I squat up in the bushes, do you? What? You mean camp? He chuckles. We won't say anything. Thanks, and I walk up a trail. The Carp River flows down a rock stream bed on my right. There's an abrupt drop from the trail to the river. There's a pleasant-looking terrace sandwich between the grade of the trail and the stream. This should hide my view from any rangers. Setting up a very modest camp, I proceed to wash my clothes, cook, bathe. This is the first time I've washed my clothes during this trip. Using a non-waterproof stuff sack and using like a drum and washing machine, I put my clothes in it, rinse, add water, and add soap, and agitate. After dumping out the soapy water more than 100 feet from the river, and I am using biodegradable soap, I hang my clothes up to dry. The only clothes I did not wash are what I'm wearing, which is now a cotton t-shirt and shorts. For supper, ramen noodles, au gratin potatoes, and a drink mix. After cooking, I suspend my stuff sack from a horizontal dead tree that fell over the stream. Sack's about 20 feet off the ground and 5 feet from a tree. No bear is going to get my sack tonight. I try to read, which should be easy because I feel okay and I am clean. But I can't because I'm obsessed that a ranger is going to show up and kick me out. Like, where would I go? Gee, officer, if you take me to the modern campground, I'll stay there. Gee, officer, if you want to pick me up tomorrow morning and bring me to my starting point, I'll stay in a hotel. Well, my worst fear may come true. I see a green truck with a yellow DNR sticker pulling in. My position is ideal for avoiding Mr. Ranger. I'm about 30 feet from the trail and my stuff is out of view. Mr. Ranger would have to walk up the trail to find me. And someone would have to rat me out. Keeping my eye on Mr. Ranger, I can see he's talking to the campers, and I can only hope that no one does, in fact, rat me out. I don't think the other 2 sites know that I'm here. The ranger must have known someone and blabbed for a while because it was after dark when they left. A collective whew was given, which was absorbed by the trees. Tomorrow I rendezvous with my dad, provided we can find each other. Reports from Don. Report number 3. Date, July 23rd. This just in. Tom is doing fine and is spending the night at Union Lake Campground on the east end of the Porcupine Mountain State Park. He will be meeting his dad tomorrow, and his dad will bring him his first food resupply. However, his dad evidently, according to Tom, has been on a different planet lately because contrary to what he himself wrote on Tom's map, he won't be able to get until the late evening, and this will put Tom one day behind schedule. I'm sure that he'll eventually make it up, but if you're planning on meeting him, stay tuned. Also, I found out why he needs duct tape. It's to hold the moleskin on. He's got several blisters and a bruise on his foot. Remember the roots and rocks thing I talked about in my last report? Well, it can eat your feet up because there's no smooth footing. Your feet are always at some strange angle. He encountered and spent the night with a group of Boy Scouts. They shared a shelter last night. They also had encountered a bear. They also encountered several groups who had bears get into their food. Tom said that his food bag was about 20 feet in the air and not even close to a tree trunk. He's decided he's going to pretty much stick to roads for a while since he's in prime bear country. That would take him somewhere around Covington, which would be about day 15. That's it for now. Don. All right. I finished my hike through the Porcupine Mountains, and on our next installment, we'll see if my dad and I can hook up and I can get my food drop. All right, thanks for joining me here on Trail Tales on my million hikes, stories about my trip across Michigan's Upper Peninsula using the North Country Trail. If I haven't mentioned it, join the North Country Trail. Go to northcountrytrail.org and you can learn all about this wonderful 4,600 mile long trail. Become a member, join a local chapter, download maps. It's a great website. All right, that's it for now. Again, this is Tom Funk. Thank you for listening to Trail Tales, and we'll see you again.